Jealousy is a burning and excruciating feeling based on fear of abandonment or betrayal. It seems that jealousy protects us from pain and deception, allows us to prepare for the worst. On the other hand, more than one relationship has been poisoned or even destroyed by jealousy. Let's take a closer look at it. To begin with, everyone understands betrayal and treason in their own way. Have you already discussed this with your partner? Do you share your views on this issue? How can you find a compromise? And is it possible in your situation in principle? For example, you think that even texting with another girl is cheating, and your partner sincerely believes that hugging a friend by the waist is a simple manifestation of a fellow feeling. If there are a lot of such issues or disagreements, it remains either to look for a new partner or to change your attitude to the situation. The only thing that you should definitely not do is try to change your partner's beliefs if he himself does not agree to change. Not because it's bad, but because it will not work. Jealousy can arise as a product of mixing your psychological characteristics and external circumstances. In each situation, this confusion occurs in different proportions. At one extreme, jealousy may turn out to be your fantasy, and at the other, a reaction to irrefutable evidence of betrayal. That would happen even to the most non-jealous person on earth. In your opinion, to what extreme is your situation leaning? If you know for sure that jealousy is a direct consequence of the ongoing betrayal, then it is a completely natural and justified reaction. But if you realize that it's not just the circumstances, let's work with your way of thinking, mentality, and attitude. The more real or perceived uncertainty is in the relationship, the stronger the jealousy. Higher uncertainty is common at the early stages of a relationship, and you may be moving faster in your head than your partner. Let's say you were already secretly choosing a wedding dress after 6 months of dating. But, or whereas, your partner thinks that you are just eyeing each other, feeling each other out. Then he can count on, or is looking to a greater distance than you suggest. But you will perceive this as a signal that he is leaving you. It might be important to check with your partner about where your relationship is at now and what it means to you and your partner. Do not extort an oath of loyalty from your partner. Just ask him how things really are, and do not try to think for him or attribute your view of your relationship to him. The answer will not necessarily please you, but with the new information, you will begin to interpret your partner's behavior differently, or you will correct your own. Perhaps you also understand that what your partner does is not a betrayal, even according to your criteria. But you cannot cope with the rush or influx of emotions. In this case, ask yourself a question. What does such a partner's action mean to me? What was the first thing I thought when I found out about this? What were the worst consequences of his actions I assumed? How much do I trust these thoughts? It's okay to be afraid of losing a partner you're crazy about. But I want to draw your attention to how jealousy affects your relationship. By arranging interrogations, checking his correspondence, and demanding assurances of loyalty or an oath of loyalty, you can force your partner to distance themselves from you and guard their borders. This, in turn, will increase your suspicion. He has estranged himself or moved away, which means he is hiding something. Is there something that jealousy helps you with and improves your relationship with your partner? How would your relationship and your emotional state change if you thought about your partner's infidelity less often and with less seriousness? It is important to understand that the image of how your partner is cheating on you or leaving you is just a film or movie that your imagination shows you. Unless, of course, you see or observe it with your own eyes. There may be some documentaries, but there are many more feature films. Sometimes circumstances develop in such a way that something from a feature film happens in reality years later. Does it mean that every feature film is a prophecy? And also, when your brain once again invites or suggests you to watch a series about betrayal and treason, remember that you can always switch the channel if you do not want to dive into this plot. Yes, you say, but I was really betrayed before, and sometimes my predictions came true. This may well be, but did your predictions help you survive the betrayal without pain? Did you say to yourself, it's okay, the important thing is that I always assumed it? Unlikely. Betrayal is painful, whether you suspected it or not. And let's also estimate how many jealous thoughts you had in the entire history of your relationship, and how many of them turned out to be true. Is this number even close to 50%? But after all, it is precisely this assessment of probability that is constantly present behind the scenes of jealousy. Either it changes or it does not. 50 to 50. If jealous thoughts flood your head and prevent you from focusing on your daily activities, I offer you a simple technique. Set aside specific time for jealousy and add it to your planner. For example, daily from 3 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. If a thought arises at a different time, tell yourself, I will think about it at 3 p.m. Or do you think it will be disastrous for you to shift the thought of your partner's possible infidelity to your designated time? The more difficult this exercise seems to you, the more useful it will be for you. After all, the ability to calmly perceive thoughts without clinging to them and not attaching too much importance to them is a powerful self-help skill. And that is exactly what you will need to do with your jealous thoughts outside the appointed time. Besides, this technique will help you notice how jealous thoughts are obsessively repeated, although at some point they may seem unique and overwhelming to you. You will see that if you do not spin a jealous thought as soon as it arises, there will be no dire consequences. And if the worst does happen, it's not because you haven't thought about something longer, right? Your jealous thought is not a confirmation that something bad is already happening, but a manifestation of your anxiety. Imagine if only one thought were enough to open a criminal case of fraud or theft. I'm not trying to convince you that everything is in order in your relationship and your partner is definitely not cheating on you. I'm just trying to show you that a jealous thought is not proof of cheating, and you don't have to listen to it. And if you feel that jealousy is something that spoils your relationship and unreasonably discourages you, it is in your power to change your way of thinking and emotional state. And you'll be surprised at how your partner's behavior can change in response.